Almost worth coming.
It's been good for you too.
I started in May. I did 2 days already. Aaron is coaching me. I years I got in school, and I went over to do, and I know how to do it. I mean, I've been in the water, but not like doing labs, you know. And it feels so natural, and like, why have you done this all day? So I used to do like the camp stuff, not the CrossFit, right? Yeah, not CrossFit. I was at Burn. Now I'm at home and or Saturday. So I'm doing a lot of like body strength training. You know, you're at home. Yeah, when you go to a good place, you know, like for me, if it's not like accessible, meaning like if it's not convenient for me, I'm the same way. And that's why I'm paying. I need someone to have an accountability. Like someone to tell me, so did you work out today? Did you work out today? You know, yeah. And we're all different. You know, some people are very motivated. I'm not. I don't like working out. So, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I ain't gonna see you 2 times in a row and then give you a hug. I don't want you to start talking about me. You got the feet. You doing all right?
It's hard. And you have to find what like you're going to stand for and you enjoy it, or you're going to be more likely to do it. Don't put me on the treadmill. Like 2 minutes later, I'm like, I'm out of here. I can't do it. Now, for me, the treadmill has been good, but it's, I was listening to like certain podcasts, so it's my time. It's like, I have to coordinate. How are you?
All right, good morning, everybody.
Busy today.
I think we set a new record. This is definitely the fullest this room has ever been. I'm a little jealous because last night I wasn't able to be a part of Startup Day, and in all the pictures I saw, it looked like a really full room. Like, of course, the one time I can't be there, and it's the most amount of people, but you all made up for it by coming here this morning, so thank you for that. I feel much better now. Although I did hear that last night went really well, and the content was amazing, and I certainly hope that all of you who weren't there will put Startup Day on your calendars. Just as a reminder, I'm not advancing the slides here because I do want you to take advantage of the QR codes, but their Startup Day is every 3rd Tuesday of the month. Being that we're in August right now, we have September and October remaining. November is our pitch contest, which is going to be a really great, massive, fun event. We're doing it Shark Tank style with like monopoly money, basically. So our judges will actually get to invest in the presenters. It's going to be really fun. Anyway, more information will be provided about that. But before I go into all that, I want you to take advantage of these QR codes that are on the screen. The one that's on the left lets our mothership know that you're all here. The mothership, 1 Million Cups, is run by the Kauffman Foundation. And their motto is to caffeinate entrepreneurs every Wednesday. Thanks to Beignet and Brew, I have my coffee in hand. I hope you all do too. And just as a quick point, I was reminded this morning, and Brian, I got to call you out, man, because I appreciate that you did this. Beignet and Brew Corporate put, a post out on Instagram like they do every day, right? But Brian went on and tagged our local 1 Million Cups chapter to say thank you, essentially. And I just want to remind you all that Beignet and Brew is located right in the Avenue. They're open 7 days a week. The coffee's phenomenal. The beignets, when they are fresh, are unlike anything you've had. So if you get them here and you like them, just imagine how much better they are when they come straight out of the fryer.
Such a problem.
They are, yeah. Such a problem.
I agree with you.
They are amazing. I also, since I'm talking about the Avenue, just want to update all of you who have been paying attention that the artisans at the Avenue, The lease has not been signed, but I am thinking it's going to happen this week. We are set to go forward. I need about 15 artisan vendors to fill that space every week. The vendors themselves have told me that they would prefer it just be a weekend-only event and that they want to manage their own booths, which saves me a ton of stress. So I am all for that. So we're looking at Friday 4 to 8, Saturday 10 to 8, and Sunday 12 to 8. And I hope that you'll come by and do all of your holiday shopping at Artisans at the Avenue. It'll be right next door to Positano, and we are looking to get started at the beginning of October. So just, I'll have a website, I'll have social, we'll keep it going, and I'll let all of you know as we get closer. Yes?
I think you explained it last week, but I forget. Was this like a donation on the part of the Avenue, or are they looking to actually make a business partnership out of this?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, they have vacant space, they want it filled. They're giving me a price for the space that I think is less than what they would typically ask for.
So they're still looking to fill it. They're not looking for this to be a permanent thing.
Well, they would love for an artisan market to be there year round. They approached me as a holiday artisan pop-up. And I think that if we have enough interest, that I can keep this going. But our lease is structured that if they get a permanent tenant that wants the spot, we're out. And if I can't sustain the space anymore, I'm out. So I'm not really on the hook, but I do have to sign a lease because, legalities, right? But it'll be Artisans at the Avenue, powered by night market kind of a thing. I mean, it is our night market vendors, but it is obviously not a night market if it's open, every weekend in 3 days and no alcohol, no live music. But there's lots of activities that the Avenue is arranging throughout the year, and we're glad to kind of partner with them on those and bring some additional fun things to the Avenue, and us, of course, leverage those events that they're creating too. So I'm excited about it, and I'll keep you all informed. Let's see, what else can I share? This weird, like school's now back in session. I feel like everything's kind of getting back to quote unquote normal, and yet everything is sort of slowed down for me in terms of like announcement wise. So we can probably shift to Ray. Ray's got some announcements. You might have seen his pretty face on some pieces of paper hanging around.
All over the place.
I told him earlier, I said, if you get your picture on a piece of paper, you deserve to come up and talk about it. So please let us know what this amazing program is all about.
Thanks. You bet. Well, thanks to everybody for being here with Launch Fed and 1 million cups. One of the things that we are doing with Launch Fed is being able to put on workshops or trainings on a regular basis. Steve, our director, did one last week on strategic planning that was very detailed and thorough. There are posters like this around the space indicating every 2 weeks we plan on another training. I put out the information on the one I'll be doing a week from tomorrow, a week from Thursday, on being able to, how do we as entrepreneurs look at our business and be able to carry it from just the vision that we have for a business or a business idea to succession planning. What are we going to do with the business when we're done with it? Are we going to sell it? Are we going to pass it on to somebody else? Are we going to close it down? What are we doing? Most of us as entrepreneurs don't think about that, and we certainly don't have in our vision all of the pieces and parts that it's going to take to be able to make it run. And so, as an entrepreneur myself, having been involved in close to 30 different businesses in creation and in sustaining them over the years, I've been involved in retail, hospitality, manufacturing, services, educational programs, wide variety. I started out thinking that I was passionate about business, but my passion is you. My passion is the entrepreneur. Who you are, what your vision is, and what it's going to take for you to really be a success as an entrepreneur, bringing your business to market and to the public. One of the things that we're doing in this, and that I'm particularly focused on, is most of the courses are going to be 4 to 6 hours in length during the day. And as an entrepreneur, I never did anything for 4 to 6 hours in my business, or to take away from my business, because I needed to be there to be able to make sure that it ran. So what I would like you to do, and the reason that I put these flyers out, was for you to take a look at the 8 keys that I'm going to be covering. The 3 that give us perspective and possibilities for our business on an ongoing basis, and then the 5 key elements for us in running our business itself. I would invite you to do one of 2 things. If you can carve out an hour of time a week from tomorrow, come to one of the hour sessions. If you can carve out 30 minutes, you come participate. I would invite you to be able to participate for any length of time. We're not charging for this event. I'm not charging for this event, and Launch Fayette is providing it for us. We'd like you to be a member of Launch Fayette. $15 a month helps us be able to provide the programs and the ongoing seasons that we have. I am one of 3 entrepreneurs in residence with Launch Fayette, available to be able to support you as a sounding board and your input, and also support you from a coaching and consulting standpoint. Valerie is another, back there in the back, is another entrepreneur in residence, and Karen is the third. Each of us have different areas of focus. Mine tends to be operations and execution. Valerie's is the culture that you have. She also has a legal background and is a speaker. And so being able to connect with her. Karen is in funding. And so each of us are focusing in different areas. I invite you to participate more in Launch Fayette, and thank you for the time.
Absolutely. So just that led me to remember 2 other things. One is Launch Fayette. If you aren't familiar, it's an incubator space, and you can find out what that means by getting a tour, either from any of the entrepreneurs in residence or any of the either of the 2 nice ladies that are sitting out there, or Steve, the director, who is also in the room. But that reminds me that one of the other programs that's coming up here at Launch Fayette is it's the Fast Track program, which is also provided to us by the Kauffman Foundation, same as 1 Million Cups. There's a lot of crossover there, so I encourage you all to check that out. We haven't set a date or time for it yet, but we are going to be having at least 1 information session that you can come to, because we think it's really important for you to be able to try it on before you buy it, essentially, right? We want you to see what the curriculum looks like and understand what the software looks like and really understand the value of this program. I feel like if I just throw out numbers right now, it's not going to mean anything to you, but I'll just leave it at that. We can talk more about it later. But essentially what you come out with on the other end of this 15-week program is a business plan. And in the 15 weeks leading up to it, there's fantastic communication, conversation, and networking amongst all the other people in the cohort. So I'll leave it at that. All right, so there's a lot of new faces in the room, and Kauffman Foundation gives us some gifts that we can give out. I've seen people with pens to paper, and I want to give you something more official than that. So if it's your first time at 1 Million Cups, could you please raise your hand? Just count on you, Mary.
Or having got a journal, Jennifer.
Every time.
Keep your hands up so Abby can do your gift. And while she's doing that, I just following Ray. We have a community member, Yanni, with Joy Event Rentals, who would like to just give a testimonial. So I'm letting him do that. Come on up.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Yanni.
Hey, wonderful crowd today. so many of you. So it's kind of a little awkward, to do that right after Dr. Ray, was standing here and speaking for himself. So who am I to say more? Just a small kind of testimonial. Myself and my wife, who are both in this business, Joy Rentals, we started to work with Dr. Ray with this method of Dr. B's Pro. Am I saying it correctly? Okay. And it's just amazing to kind of get someone who, first of all, can listen to you and who can take you by the hand and kind of see exactly. Yes, you have a question? Oh, yeah, they're like, yeah. I thought it wasn't enthusiastic like audience, right? Already questions. Not even done. So yeah, we have great experience working with Dr. Ray. The reason I'm here in front of you is that it just makes so much sense to me that since we're here in this wonderful place that hosts us, the Launch Fayette, with so many opportunities to grow, and I'm looking at some familiar faces, and I know that some of you took advantage of that and enrolled in one of the wonderful programs that Jason mentioned. Give a try to Dr. Ray here. Just do this discovery face-to-face or phone call with him and see where it takes you. It will blow your mind. That's all I want to say. If you have questions.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Well, today's presenter is it Jessica Chaos with Chaos Works. Woo! I'll say that it was probably a couple weeks ago that I put out a call to everybody in the room and I said, like, we are dry, our pipeline is dry, we have no presenter. And it was your first time here, and she raised her hand and said, okay, I'll go next week. Well, it turns out it wasn't exactly next week, but she's here now to present. I'm going to continue that call to all of you, right? For those that are new in the room, I just want to remind, or tell you and remind everybody that the reason you're here is to give feedback to the business owner, the idea maker that stands in front of the room, right? They're being vulnerable and they would like feedback from us. That could be on their presentation style. It could be on the quality of their slides, which are great. It could also just be on her message and how it's being delivered, right? So if you're in the audience and you're thinking, yeah, I could benefit from that, or if you hear some of the feedback that we as a community give her and you think, wow, that was amazing, and I want to implement that in my business, and I can probably use this too, then you're in the right place and you should be up here too. I think we are now scheduled out through mid-September, which is such a relief, but if we don't keep building that pipeline, I just find ourselves in another stressful position. So, enjoy the program and sign up to present.
Do you have a clicker or? Awesome.
I believe the down arrow is what we'll get you to go forward, just where you want.
Well, I will try not to stare at the slides like my last presentation, but this is a practice presentation I developed for presenting to potential clients within the trade show industry. So exhibit houses are my main clientele, and I would be a vendor for them. I would like to be a preferred vendor. So this is a presentation that I would sign up to give at an exhibit house. Yes?
What's an exhibit house?
So an exhibit house is a company that produces from top to bottom a display for a trade show for their clients. So Coca-Cola is going to the candy show in Las Vegas, and they have a 30 by 30 space, and they have a design in mind, or at least an idea. They go to an exhibit house and say, this is our general idea. Can you design it, build it, produce it, install it, and dismantle it when it's over? That's what the exhibit house does. Me as a vendor would produce just the fabric portion of that job, which is the skins that go on the framing. So sort of the most important part. But a lot of exhibit houses don't produce their fabrics in-house. They source them out to vendors because the equipment for printing is exponentially expensive. And then the skill set of finishing them, which is what I have, is also not super common. But so this is where I would present that. So greetings, obviously. I'm going to try the down arrow. A little bit about us. Obviously, women-owned business. I actually partner with my sister and several other women that work with me. The exhibit industry is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Small and huge at the same time. So everybody knows everybody, and yet nobody knows about it. So you see it all around you. Everything that is advertising is around you, but you wouldn't really think, how does that get there? That is what the advertising display industry does. My focus as Chaos Works founder is really focused within my experience as a seamstress and my 20 years of experience in production sewing for exhibit display. So my major goal, or Chaos Works' singular mindset, is we want to have the highest quality products available. A lot of vendors for graphic fabrics focus on the printing side of things because that is what everyone thinks about. They think, oh, printed graphics. But unfortunately, that means a lot of the fabrics that they send out do not fit properly. They're beautifully printed, but they don't fit, and so you have wrinkles in them. Or they have to let them hang too short from reaching the end of the frame. They still look pretty, but they're not right. And that's what Chaos Works fills gap-wise. So I offer a lot of different services, but the most important one being, if you have an idea, I can bring it to life right the first time. So we're going to get into some examples of some projects that I've done. This is a navy truss pillowcase. I can get into the minutia of what a truss pillowcase is, but basically, if you're looking at this entire structure, all the way around and all the legs, is one piece. And I had to install as one piece for simplicity for the installation team. So there are zippers running across the horizontal bars at the top inside corner, and zippers running down the inside corner of the verticals. But, as with a lot of trade shows, this was a very short timeline. From the day I had art approval, it was due to arrive exact 5 days later.
Wow.
And they were installing on that 5th day. It fit perfect the first time because I know what questions to ask before production starts. So this is another truss pillowcase. Once a client knows you can do something successfully, they usually want you to do it again, but for a different client. So this one is the same thing, just different client. Different size, generally speaking, but same idea. One of the other things with trade show is that the fabrics are massive. We're covering entire walls, buildings that are 16 feet tall, hundreds of feet wide. And so fabric doesn't really come that big, so it has to get seamed together. And when it's a continuous image, you print the top portion, you print the bottom portion, and then a skilled seamstress needs to pin and match that. It should look like a continuous image. But unfortunately, far too often am I called in to fix a seam job on somebody else's production because it does not match. This is a piece that I produced, and I would pay you $100 if you can find that seam.
Is it just one seam in that whole thing?
There's one seam in that whole thing.
Where is it? Can you point it out?
Find it now.
Watch out, David.
There's a seam in this one too. And you might think it's down here. It is not. So this is actually a scissor lift that is holding this vehicle up. The scissor lift is 14 feet tall, 12 feet tall, and this is a 12-inch skirt. So this piece velcros to the skirt, and the skirt has Velcro on the front for that piece, and Velcro on the back to Velcro to the scissor lift. So there is actually a hidden seam somewhere in here. And this piece has 3 different finishes on it. So it keeters to the top of the piece, it zippers together in 2 pieces on each of the opposite corners, and then it Velcros to that bottom skirt.
Are you printing it as well? Or
I have
is it coming to
sources
you?
that print. So I have a vendor that prints for me, and then I do the finishing.
Got it.
Because the printing equipment is very expensive. So this is a frame that is, none of the pieces are square. And there's two different fabric types in it. So there is sheer and heavy knit, but they needed that image to match continuously throughout all those pieces. It might seem like something that would be easy, but the thing is that every fabric has a different stretch factor. Every fabric prints a little differently. So shrinkage is a thing when you print. So to get these to line up, you have to pay attention to a lot of different details, especially since they're not square. You have angles, you have stretch factor, you've got bias, there's a lot going on. That is what I specialize in. That is what I'm passionate about. Anybody can do rectangles. Most anybody can do rectangles. But I can do the weird stuff.
Jessica, how big is that?
The previous one?
Yeah.
So this was, on this end was about 16 feet tall. On this end it was about 12 feet tall. And I think full width wise it was about 22 feet wide. But each of these is a separate piece. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 separately finished pieces that had to align. Similarly speaking, when you're working with fabric, the grain direction can be a really huge factor in the color that it presents. Fabric has a grain. If you rotate it, that grain's going to be different from the piece next to it. So in a job like this, if you don't label your pieces, not only with which piece goes where, but the orientation it needs to install, your installation team is not thinking about that. They're just shoving the stuff up. They're union guys, they're just getting it up on the frame. Not every company that produces fabrics labels for orientation. I label for orientation on every single piece that I make. Because in a situation like this, or a situation where you have a gradient and the lighting on site, I actually had this happen, isn't quite clear. The guys put the door on the wall opposite of the actual wall. So you have a dark blue gradient from the top to a light blue gradient on the bottom, and the door is put in with the light blue gradient at the top and the dark blue gradient at the bottom, and they already cut the door hole. So now that door won't work once they find that issue. That doesn't happen with my stuff as long as they actually read orientation labels. So in a situation like this was actually produced by another vendor previous to me. And they sent me pictures and every panel looked like a different color blue. And they're like, we don't know what happened. I was like, I do. And I'm like, but unfortunately, I think that's a remake. And I remade it and this was the final look and they were very pleased. I didn't really do anything different except label. This is another truss cover, but this one's a lot bigger and a lot more complex. So from this end here to here, that is 90 feet. And from here to here was about 16 feet. And then these center beams add a new element of difficulty when you're going to install. This also installed as one piece. So it installed from the face and had zippers running on the inside corners all the way around the bottom of the perimeter. But then those middle panels had zippers running down their back centers and had little clips to hold the loose parts in place. Again, this frame was in Michigan. I was never in Michigan. I just knew the right questions to ask and it fit perfect the first time. This one was a really fun one. You cannot do this from numbers. This you have to have the frame to pattern. But again, this was tried to be produced by another vendor before I got to it. It had 27 seams in it when they got it, and they were not happy because all the grain looked different. I said, we need to switch the material type to a stretchier material, and I need the frame. I patterned it in the material I was going to make the graphic in, rather than trying to pattern it with some stiff material and then stretch my fabric later. I was able to eliminate it down to a single spine seam, and then obviously the side seams. They wanted to make sure that it hugged into the inside, which doesn't physics unless you make it. So there's a pocket along the zipper, so it installs with the zipper here. But there's a pocket running from about behind this light all the way down that velcros around the frame's spine to hold it in. It's a lot of little complex things, but again, I made it fit right the first time. This one was also a fun one. So this I did not produce the original piece, and I wouldn't want to claim the original piece either because of all this wrinkling and stuff. Mine would have been much nicer. But I was on site as support. They hired me to just be there for the installation. Salesforce is a huge, huge business, and their show, Dreamforce, is a huge trade show. It's probably the biggest one I've ever been to. It's in San Francisco, and it takes up the entire city as far as I can tell. Hotels have displays in every hotel for, hi, you're welcome to Salesforce, not welcome to San Francisco. But this was installed, and this bang was hanging more like here, completely covering the eye, and they were not happy. But they couldn't take it down. This thing is massive, and they've already got flooring in and displays. So they're like, can you climb in a forklift and hand sew that? And my answer was yes. Meanwhile, I'm in the forklift with a needle this big, sewing a 20-foot distance, and I got 20 suits sitting around me watching. For the hour I was there, and they're like, wow, yours seems nicer than the original. That's Chaos Works.
Nice.
And then you have multiple production. So this is a small desk display. There's the front, the two sides, the back, and the two doors for access. This is something that would be very typical of many different display cases. But the difference that I offer is that every piece is going to fit identically. When you have a piece like this is about 2 inches at most. That has to be cut perfectly for it to fit nicely. So a lot of people think the big stuff is really impressive. For me, if you got a tiny little strip down a door panel side, that's going to be the hardest part you cut. You have to cut it perfectly straight, perfectly the same dimension, and sew it perfectly straight for it to fit and look nice. And a lot of people don't take that seriously. So no matter how small it is, I take it very seriously. But then it gets big. And hey, look, we're talking about the gradient doors I was talking about. So I mark all of my panels top and bottom. So this one actually has a matching line that has to continue through the door. This is a gradient wall that has to match all the way through. They put this door in upside down and already cut the door hole. Well, I produced a new one and sent it to them. They did it again. It was too late to fix at that point, so they raised the door handle about 1.5 feet. So it's like, so they made it work. But when you have matching lines like that, it's a lot easier for them to not screw up the door installation. But again, if they just read that in all 4 corners, there's a top, bottom on every piece I produce. I can't make them read, but I can make them write. So what's really interesting about these pieces is the main fabric that's really popular in trade show right now is called blackback. It doesn't stretch a whole lot. These walls were almost 100 feet long, and they had door cutouts in them. So they had to be right. There's no reprinting that. The cost would be exponential. And unfortunately, a lot of times, the graphics that other vendors make are too tight, knuckle breaking tight. I pride myself in every job I do, I ask for feedback, and I go back to my stretch chart and I hone it in every single time. I'm always looking for improvement. One of my favorite terms is Kaizen, because it means continual improvement. We're never going to be good enough. Some other things that we produce for our clients is color match interiors, so cushions, pillows. An event display is not just the walls. There's the seating area, the engagements area, even just relaxation areas. And a lot of times, vendors want it to be all brand cohesive. So it's not really easy to find the exact blue for Delta in just the general world. So I can produce those things for them. And then just as some more examples, because pictures say 1,000 words. Displays of different color, banners of different designs, a cloud SEG. I never told you guys what SEG means. SEG is silicone edge graphic. Silicone is what we saw onto the edge for most of these sinks to install. It's the most common finish of trade show graphics. And so that is my presentation, and I would love to work with my vendor, or as a vendor for event display companies.
Great job, Jessica.
I love cats, so I put cats wherever I can. That's sort of me leaning into the whole chaos thing, deal with it, but I had, this is just a little side story, I had a friend produce this cube with my QR code specifically so I could have a cat dangling from it. That's the only purpose for all that work.
That's great. So,
Sorry if that took longer than it should
no,
have.
that was perfect. So for those that don't know, 1 Million Cups requires me as the lead organizer to ask, what can we as a community do for you? Just shut it off.
Oh, that's fine. So I found out yesterday that I have one follower on LinkedIn for Chaos Works LLC, and it's my sister. Now, granted, I'm working on increasing my activity on LinkedIn because, well, it's also been one. So if you guys would be generous enough to follow me on LinkedIn and suggest me to other people, that would be hugely helpful because a lot of my potential clients are on LinkedIn, and if they see me as somebody who has people following them and engagement, they can take me a little more seriously. But you can also follow me on Facebook or leave a Google review, or just keep me in mind when you hear people talking about event spaces. Well, that changed from yesterday. I literally sent like 45 invites yesterday.
You had 8 about 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
So now you have 11, now you have more.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yay, that's awesome. That's
Excellent.
it's 100% or 1,000% improvement.
Yeah.
One day. Yes.
So now's the fun part. Audience, Karen, yes.
I have a club
Are
for
you
the
charging
business
them?
we do.
It seems like that is amazing
We do business.
So the-
precision and skill, and they call you at their most frantic time.
Chances are no. So I have a lot of experience in the industry, and I understand how the billing process works. Now, different event companies have different clienteles with different mindsets on budget. So I used to work for a company called Zarnowski, and their clients have budgets that look like they have no limit. One of my current clients is a smaller company, and their clients are trying to be on the budget side of things, trying to keep things more under control. So the event houses actually have a system where they have a base price, and then based on the client, they have a percentage upcharge based on what they know that their client's budget can handle. As a vendor, I don't know what they're charging their clients. I know, generally speaking, what their base price probably is, and I want to hit below that. I make great money on trade show. I just need more trade show.
Okay. So can you go back to one of your really awesome pictures so I can get a picture of you in front of
Sure.
whatever you've done, and then I will share that on LinkedIn as well.
Which one is
keep
yours?
going.
That one.
No, the aloe.
Brand name, so go to one with a brand name, like.
Yeah.
Such
Yeah.
that the people understand.
Yeah,
that
that
was
works
good.
out.
No, go.
No, that was a
The one with the lift was really cool.
Oh, the scissor lift? Okay.
Yeah, that's a cool.
Yeah, that's, was for.
Or the Salesforce.
Well, the Salesforce one I didn't make. That one I just altered while I was there.
This is a make one.
This one I made.
Need something they can relate to when they see
Yeah.
the picture, like, if they see the brand, they're like, okay, she does it for them, you know what I mean?
Okay, so,
But she doesn't have her scissors here. How can you do that? Without the scissors.
So one thing just to.
okay, do one that you fixed.
The Salesforce.
Yeah, the Salesforce one is one I think. Well, maybe not the same pose. Oh, okay, there we go. I'll come over here.
Yeah, with the fingers,
Professional
yeah.
model.
Do
There you
the-
go.
the scissors with the fingers, yeah.
Just one thing to reiterate is that these brand names are amazing, but they're not her direct clients.
Clients, yes.
Right, that goes back
So
to the first question
Salesforce
that
did
Aaron
not
asked.
hire me.
Right.
The exhibit company that was doing the booth for Salesforce hired me, and their name is George P. Johnson, experiential company. So my clients' names are Exhibitist, Zarnowski, George P. Johnson, MC Squared, Spoon Exhibits. If it has exhibits, events, or advertising in the name, they're probably a potential client for me. Or if it's 3 letters, because they all love 3 letters, CSG, CDI, EWI. I don't know why. Maybe that's what my name company should have been,
Aaron
IDW.
is not.
I had 3 questions. First, is the cat your cat that was on the other slide?
No, it's just a cat that I could pull off
Okay.
a cat. I do have cats. I have
Okay.
lots of cats. But I'm just not that graphically inclined to get a picture of them, remove the background and all that.
Oh, yeah. No, they don't.
Maybe
pose.
someday I'll update it.
Cats don't tend to pose properly.
No, they blur.
Yeah, they don't. Second question, why be a seamstress? How did you become a seamstress? Like, what is it
Oh.
about being a seamstress that gives you joy?
Oh, that's a funny story. So I never wanted to be a seamstress. I started off drawing because my aunt used to draw me ballerinas. And then one day she was just like, "You've seen me drawing enough, do it yourself." And so I started drawing them myself, and then I started changing their outfits and drawing all kinds of things. So I was a drawer, I was an artist of that nature. Then in high school, my art teacher was like, "Where are you going to college?" I was like, I don't know what I want to do. And she was like, "Well, you have to do something art, you're very talented, you need to stay in the creative field, you'll be happier that way." And I was like, "Well, I'd love to be a fashion designer, but only rich people can do that." And she was like, "No, go to Pratt." I didn't know what Pratt was. I just looked up Pratt, applied to their fashion program. They accept about 50 students every year. I had applied late, so I got waitlisted. I called and asked, instead of waiting for a slot to open, if I could just be the first person accepted for the next year. Ended up going the next year and found out very quickly that even though I'd never sewn before, I took to it like a fish to water. So our very first class, they showed us how to square a piece of muslin and sat us down in industrial sewing machines. I'd never sewn on a home sewing machine. My mom did, my sister did, I'd never sewn. And they're just like, start from the corner, sew all the way around until you make this square spiral to the center as straight as you can. I started sewing. We're in a class of like 30 students with 30 sewing machines all doing our best. She comes around, she's like, "How long you been sewing?" I was like, "Today's my first day." She's like, "Oh, you're gonna be good." And by senior year, I had finished my senior thesis dresses about a week early, and I was helping all of my senior friends sew zippers into their clothes and finish their stuff. So I took to construction because of my mindset, I guess, and I'm a prideful person, so I like things that I'm good at, and I am good at sewing. So that's why I do it.
Jessica, who owns what you produced, and what happens to it after the show?
The clients own it. So the sad story of trade show is it's a very wasteful industry. It usually ends up in the trash if they have no intention to use it again. If they possibly will use it again, they will pay the same event company that produced it to store it. So they will store the framing, they will store the fabrics, and then if they decide to use it next season, they might go through it, change the design some, reuse some of the pieces, throw some of the pieces away, or use only the reframing, but completely do new fabrics.
So, on that note, like those frames, like this year it could be GM, next year that same frame is reused for something else.
Well, it would be owned by, it depends on how the client purchases it. So sometimes a client can use rental framing and even rental fabrics. So larger exhibit houses will basically stock rental items, black fabrics and whatnot, and they give it for a discounted rate, even though it's not really rental. It's all Lego pieces that go together. But the larger clientele want their stuff to be unique. They want it to be only they have it, so they're less likely to use a rental, and they're more likely to have $1 million budget to produce a 30-foot booth that is completely original engagement space. And then they will use that booth once or twice or 10 years, depends on how much they invested in it. Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a second.
I think somebody else had their hand up, I don't want to do
Go ahead.
twice, but okay. So, a couple of suggestions. Who is Stephanie Brandon?
That is my sister. She's my,
She's the only employee at Chaos Works that signed up on LinkedIn.
on LinkedIn.
You should be on there.
Yeah, that's weird. Because I own the page, so.
So, and it looks like you're out of Detroit, because she's in Detroit, I guess?
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I serve clients all over the country.
Right, but you're a Fayetteville company, I'm just saying, you know, confession, I didn't catch your name when you first started, so I was trying to figure out what your name was, and I couldn't find you on LinkedIn.
Gotcha.
Because you weren't connected to your company.
Yeah, because I have it as, under my experience, I have Jessica Chaos, or owner of Chaos Works, but I never really went to my Chaos Works page and,
Attached
so
there,
thank you,
yeah.
no. What was the
Okay.
second suggestion?
On your website,
Yeah,
your socials are not connected at the bottom of the page.
working on that. I got the ACE team on it.
Do you do Instagram?
I don't currently. I am
She
working
will.
on trying to get more active in social media. So one of my biggest personal critiques to myself that everyone else also mentions to me is that I spent so much time in the business that I am not spending any time on building the business. So I'm
So-
trying to correct that this year.
One thing that makes it, because doing social media is very time consuming, so don't put a lot of stress on yourself, do it as part of your day. I mean,
Well, I'm just
I'll tell you
offloading
this,
it. I'm
he's
just
telling you
offloading it.
right?
I'm like, here's my drive, here's the
Yeah,
pictures, here's
when
the.
you go on site.
Oh, okay, I see
She
what you're
she
saying.
does this all the time, Thais, but you like, here I am, and this is why they called me in, I'm gonna fix this. And then you stop it. And then you do a thing where you got somebody like, you're up there doing it, and you're showing that the miracles that you're solving for these customers in crisis, right?
Yeah.
And it can be just a 30-second, 45-second little screen that when you put on Facebook will automatically go to Instagram. If you
Gotcha.
connect your accounts.
Gotcha.
So it's only,
Okay.
it's.
Provide you more content is what she's saying.
I got that.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
So
no, I
that's
appreciate
just-
that.
Great
because
idea.
It's really quite fascinating what
Yeah.
you're doing, and I'm like, how do you know how people find you to know, I mean, the word of mouth must be strong within the industry, because, like, how do you even search for that? Fix my.
Yeah, honestly,
right?
all
And
of
then,
my clientele within trade show has come from people I knew working at Zarnowski or previously working at another trade show company that I worked at.
And then afterwards, when you're done, and they go like, oh my God, I can't believe it, you go, excuse me, can you repeat that? And just take a quick little 20-second video.
Yeah, I'm going back to Salesforce this year, so I will keep that in mind, because I tend to lean towards the get it done and not think about what can I get from getting it done process.
You said that the exposition stalls end up in trash. So I think your biggest chances are resale to the same client. So
Well, the clients own it.
yeah,
They own it. They choose to throw it
yeah,
away.
and then for another fair,
Yes, yes.
they can call you again. So this
Yes.
is your biggest chances. Can you take advantage of this, or do you? Yeah, how do you work on that?
I mean, once I am used by an exhibit company as a vendor, it's a lot easier to get them to use me again.
Yes.
So my biggest struggle right now is getting, as she said, exhibit companies to recognize I exist, recognize I have the capacity to help them in the time periods that they do, because people are creatures of habit. So if exhibit is, for example, it always uses the vendor for fabrics called DD2. And even though they're having problem after problem from DD2, and they call me in to fix it, when they need a rush job of 20 graphics, they still call DD2. Even though they know they're probably gonna have to call me in to fix it. And getting them to change that habit process is what I'm trying to do, by showing them that I am legitimate and capable of handling that workload. Because much like she said, Chaos Works looks like it has one employee. Chaos Works looks like it's a home location. I also look like I do alterations in fashion, and I'm sort of dabbling, and they want somebody dedicated to that work. So this year, my focus is very much emphasizing Chaos Works is a trade show fabric vendor. Yeah?
So you just mentioned all of the things that you do to fix things. Can you present to the exhibit houses how you save them money? And how
Yeah.
much money, can you come up with numbers to say, I'm gonna save you X thousands of
I could
dollars?
probably round it, yeah, because, I mean, my prices it's all priced per square foot.
Right.
And generally speaking, my price per square foot is somewhere in the under $6 a square foot range. And a lot of them.
Does that apply to custom stuff, like the aloe thing you did?
That would probably range a little bit higher, probably more in the $7 per square foot range, but they're probably gonna bill $13 a square foot to their client. So they're making hand over fist on what I do. The problem is other places like DD2 will undercut a lot to keep the work there, but then they cut on the quality end. So they're just whipping it through, sending graphics with hairlines in it or missing spots of ink, little black head strikes, and then they're calling me saying, hey, can you color this? Can you fix this? Can you make this line match up? Now granted, I probably don't charge enough to fix it.
That's why you need, yeah, I feel like that could be a business by itself.
Should be a separate charge.
2x when you're joking.
Yeah?
I want to get a clip. So I'm gonna ask you a question. If you could repeat it and then answer it, and I'm gonna ask you the same question. How do you save exhibit houses money? Can we do that real quick?
Yeah.
All right. And just repeat that. I save exhibit houses money, and then All right.
This is going on your social media.
Yes, it is. All right, here we go.
Can you actually wait? Can you change the background there to something cool?
You want that back.
Or you want that one?
All right, here we go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
So I can save exhibit houses money because of the quality that it provides. When another vendor produces their graphics for a lower price, they're usually throwing quality out the window. They're sending items with head strikes, missing threads in the fabric, or just poorly sewn products because they're rushing them through. Chaos Works might have a slightly higher price point, but the quality that you get at the end is worth that value.
Good job.
Yanni.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to ask you, you started from fabrications of like dresses, if I understand correctly?
So my education is a fashion design degree from Pratt, which was very focused on construction, drapery design, rather than the merchandising side of fashion. While in college, I decided I hated the fashion industry because they basically want women to hate their bodies and buy this dress and it'll make you feel better. And also they wanted the designers to basically work for a internship for a year and then maybe they'll hire you.
The reason I'm asking, sorry for
Yeah.
I didn't wait to cut you off.
Yeah, so, no, you're good.
The reason I'm asking is because I'm really curious about your, and I'm sure that a lot of people here as entrepreneurs, they're curious about your journey.
How I got there.
Because working with these big names is not given. It's something like. So I wonder, if I may ask, if you can put your finger on what exactly happened from where you were at the beginning.
Tell you exactly what happened.
The kind of the point that kind of brought you to work with the big expos, with the big
So I had my resume on Craigslist. After college, working. I had it everywhere, but Craigslist was where they found it. I was working as an alteration seamstress, and I was working for my father, living with my father. That was a miserable year. And I got called by this company called Tectonics, and they're like, we're looking for seamstresses. Would you like to come in for an interview? And I was like, yeah, sure, I need a job. I cannot work for my father anymore. And I got to the warehouse for this sewing job interview, and I walked in, and it's this massive warehouse. They had an entire section dedicated to printing equipment. These printers were 12 feet wide, printing these massive graphics. There's tables and sewing machines for like a football field, and I was just like, this is the coolest place I've ever been in my life. It was a candy land for making stuff, and to me, my brain immediately went, I get to make clothes for buildings. That was the difference. It was like it's not any different construction wise, it's just a different shape. And that's how I look at every project I do. The aloe vera plant wasn't scary to me like it would be other people because I wasn't taught the frame is 30 by 30, add 1, minus this stretch chart, and cut it at that. I'm like, how do I make this shape? Well, I gotta drape it, just like I would a dress that needs to fit a specific woman. And so that background actually brought me in that job up very quickly. So when I started, I was just like anybody else, and within a month I was making my first pillowcase. Within 3 months, I was training people that I shouldn't be training. They would work there before me. And I was being called in on hours I didn't work to cut things that other people had cut 10 times and still doesn't fit the frame.
That's wonderful. I think you should use this sentence, by the way, in your social media. I get to
Make clothes for buildings.
Clothes for buildings. Yes, exactly. That's exciting.
Yeah, so I just want to follow up. First off, you are fabulous in a room.
Right.
I don't think you have any idea how good you are in a room. If you walk into those exhibit houses with your skill and your confidence and your success stories, I have a girl crush on you. Like, they're going to want to work with you because of what you bring in your presence. You're so confident in what you do. I couldn't tell. You said you wanted feedback on the presentation you're doing to exhibit houses, so I can't tell when you're sharing with us. When did that start? Did that start with the About Me, woman-owned business?
Yes. So I was trying to do a presentation as to a client, but I will admit that as I started, it sort of turned into me just explaining what these things are, which honestly is my nature. So I would probably still do the same thing with a client, because even though the client is immersed in this industry, they don't really know how I make those things happen. They just say, the client sent us this picture, can you make it happen?
Well, so what this is, you have all the content you need. Right now it's not in the right order. And so I wouldn't start with About Me, here's what I do, woman-owned business.
Yeah.
That's all critical after they already want to start working with you.
Gotcha.
But you have these great remake stories, and that's, so you just said, they're going back to the people who got it wrong the first time. You want to be the first person they think of. So start with that they got it wrong the first time, because that is their nightmare.
Yeah.
Like you always say when the company wants to be a painkiller or a vitamin. And you are both, because you're the painkiller, because they're in trouble. They walk into a room and they're in trouble. So I would open with a picture of something to say, look how amazing this looks. I was the person who made it look like this after the company they first hired got it wrong. And here's what I was able to do.
Gotcha.
And I have this skill, I have that skill. You had so many great, most anybody can do rectangles, I can do the weird stuff. That's a fantastic line. If you have an idea, I can bring it to life. I get it right the first time. And I like others focus on printing, we focus on fabric. Again, that's a later in the talk. That's so what you want to do is present their problem and how you're going to survive, how you're going to solve their problem. Right now, you're coming in and talking about you.
Yeah.
Your client wants you to talk about them.
Yes.
So if you come into the exhibit house and you say, what is the weirdest thing a client ever asked you to do at a trade show? Because let me tell you something, I'm the person who lets you say yes. I'm the person who gives you the opportunity to say yes to what they want, and I make you look good. So then you can go through, the examples are fantastic. And then also a bid line, other exhibit houses come back to me a second time. And the ones that are the most successful are the ones that think of me the first time.
Yeah.
And so if you start going in with like, I solve everybody's problems, I do it right the first time, no job is too weird, and I can make your clients look so good, they're gonna tell everybody to work with you, and I just need you to tell everybody to work with me. And if you come in with that, with these pictures, with your presence, with your skill set, then you can weave the bio into those things.
Yeah.
Like as you're talking about things, you say, and because I went to fashion school, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And when I fixed it for this company, blah, blah, blah. So you weave the bio into the point.
And I don't really need it in the slides.
You don't need it in the slides.
I like that.
You're weaving the bio in, but each story is about them, is about the exhibit house and what they need. And when you walk in the door talking about them, they are going to start saying, she gets us, and look, she has the skills to back it up. And I think you should be getting the job in every room you walk in.
Thank you. That was great feedback. I love that.
And I agree with her. I saw lots of value. I think that you're really good at communicating your value. If you add some of the things that she said, you will quickly rise to being the absolute best. I already see you as the best, and you need to make sure that you are charging as the best as you go on that journey. But while you go on that journey, I think it's also really important for you to continue to embrace your quirkiness. I think that's why your audience loves you. The fact that you can say, I can do weird stuff, your name kind of pulls into that quirkiness. It's who you are, and it's why people love you. And so as you grow on that journey, I think it's so important to stay true to that. And then you may want to update your photo in your PowerPoint. When I saw it, I was like, wait, I think I know you. But when we talked over here, I was like, wait, I don't think I know you. And so the two, how you look today and the photo on the PowerPoint
it's an
don't
older
match.
photo,
They look like two different people because your hairstyle has changed.
Yeah,
right?
I chopped it all off.
So you may want to update that as well. But I think you really have the potential of being the #1 person in this industry that you're in.
Thank you so much.
Is there a trade show organization for trade show people?
There are multiple trade show organizations and magazines and events. One is a charitable organization that's called the EDPA. I am a member. I'm just not as active as I would like to be, but basically it's multiple exhibit houses in different regions coming together to do charitable works, but it's also great for networking.
So can you set up at a trade show and display your works?
I can, but it's expensive. Yeah.
Can I piggyback off that real quick?
Yeah.
Look into GAPPP. It's like promotional printing, something or another. It's an association. I got an email about it this week, and I'm not eligible to go, but I think it's right up your alley.
Is it GAPPP?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask, what's your long game? Where would you like to see your business go or end up?
So ideally, I would like to get to the point where I'm able to purchase the printing equipment and have a printing staff to print in-house rather than having to have a vendor for that. Obviously, I have to build up a lot of capital to get there. Eventually, I would like to also be able to source some of the rental framing. So there's two main framing companies, BMatrix and Aluvision, that a lot of the companies use. So if I could have sources for that or be a vendor for them, then I would be able to offer a broader.
So you want to be able to do the whole shebang?
Not the whole thing. I don't want to be an exhibit house.
Okay.
I still want to be a vendor, but as a vendor, I want to be able to have more facets as a vendor. Yeah, I don't want to compete with my clients.
Technical question, on the construction of the frames, given your design background, do you see the same areas for improvement on the metal construction?
1,000%.
Okay, because that's your secret sauce. So people say, your most valuable thing you have is time. That's not true. Your most valuable thing is focus. And you focus on the problem you're solving, not the solution for the problem that you have a heart to solve. So your secret sauce isn't even really seamstressing, right? It's engineering.
Yeah.
You're an engineer.
Yeah.
And that's where you find joy, right? You think of things differently, more creatively. And so all of this other stuff is great. Social media is great. Whatever, your presentation is wonderful. Just do it the way you're doing it. But focus on what makes you special. And that's what makes you special. That's really cool. That's a good way to expand.
Yeah, I like that term that I'm an engineer. Yes?
Hi, Thais Mills from Gotta Love Fayetteville. My question is, if you can pick any small business to work with any amount of budget, what would it be and how much would you need?
Ooh. I mean, my heart is with, things that help the community. So I like working with charitable organizations. Now, granted, they usually don't have unlimited budgets. But if they did have an unlimited budget, I would love to work with an organization that's trying to help either animals or children in any way possible, because I feel like they're the most forgotten parts of our society. So I actually am on the board of directors of Closest Travel because I like to work with that organization as much as possible. So if they had an unlimited budget, I would love to blow them up.
Thank you
more.
so much, Miss Jessica. I appreciate you.
So you said Dreamforce is coming up.
Yes.
Out of how many thousands of displays there, how many of those are you?
Well, weirdly enough, is thousands of displays that there are, it's really all one exhibit company that's producing and installing all of it. It's just a massive endeavor. But it really depends on how many come out wrong. So I will be there for a week, on call 12 hours a day for that week. And there might be nothing wrong the first day. There might be nothing wrong the whole time I'm there. But I'm there in case something goes wrong. The last time I was there, the first day there was nothing wrong. They literally told us to go see the Golden Gate Bridge. And then the second day, we were completely tearing apart 3 pillowcases because they had sewn them inside out. The front was on the inside and the inside was on the outside. So we had to completely tear them apart and put them back together. So that was a 12-hour endeavor itself. It would have almost been faster to reprint them, but not necessarily cheaper. Then day 3 was the sign, and honestly, because it was so big where we were set up, I had to walk for almost 30 minutes to get to where that sign was. Then I had to wait for the scissor lift, do the actual sewing, and then yeah, the rest is history. But every day was something different. It all depends on what's wrong. And then they might decide that something is wrong one day and say, oh, we're going to bring you these 20 flags. These 20 flags are flapping in the wind. That's what flags do. They're like, but we want to sort of like weigh them down. So if we bring them down, can you open them up and slide a rod in and then close it up so it's not a safety hazard? And I was like, well, yes, of course I can. But then the next day they decided that it wasn't worth the effort of bringing them all down. So they decided not to do that. So
Do you work at all of CES?
I have worked at CES. Yeah, CES is a really cool show.
How much equipment are you bringing to the shows? Like to
typically it is a sewing machine, and it's usually not provided by me. It's provided by the exhibit house. Yeah. And then they have some folding tables set up for working space.
Chaos Works LLC. I see you more, and this is what I'm hearing from others, is Chaos Avoidance LLC.
Yeah, it's sort of a pun. So the short story of my name is I got married very young and dumb, and when we went to get divorced, the line on the paperwork said, wife's name changes to, and it was a blank line. I looked at the legal secretary, and I said, I don't have to go back to my maiden name? And she's like, whatever you put in there, if the judge approves it, you're good. Split second decision. I've always loved chaos. I've always wanted to have my own company called Chaos Unlimited, Chaos Unbound, and I just wrote chaos in there.
Why you managed to divorce?
Courtroom like 10 minutes later.
2 birds with 1 stone. That's
And
awesome.
the judge couldn't have been more bored. He was like, wife's name changes to Chaos. Chaos, yes. And it was over, and I never looked back.
That's a great story.
Love that.
Hello, Ms. Gass. I'm Nick from nickdanger.com.
Nice to meet you.
I
love it.
Yeah. I just want to echo everybody just because you said that. Don't change the name. It's awesome. I think you're cool. You have like the number one foundation thing. I think it's everything Road Crush said was what I was going to say. You have the impact story, right? I love the uncomfortable ethos. I also like to be very uncomfortable all the time too.
Yes.
So I think it's all rad, and I was going to ask if there's any more to the charitable foundations that you work with, or is it just Close Less Travel?
I have volunteered with the Humane Society. When I was at Zarnowski, I actually spearheaded a lot of our charitable works. So is it Grow Atlanta? I forget the name of the organization, honestly, but they collect food baskets for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so I did a collection at Zarnowski and organized the whole thing. And what you'll find with a lot of corporate people is they want to help, but they don't want to go grocery shopping. They just want to give you money. And they wanted food. So I collected a lot of money, did a lot of big grocery shopping, separated out all the baskets, and then also made them look pretty because, well, it should look pretty. And then we were able to donate the first year, we donated 37 baskets. And then the next year, we almost doubled that, which we were the largest single donator of baskets to that organization. We also did, during the summer at Zarnowski, we were very slow. Like the trade show has seasons of busyness, which is actually leveling out after COVID, but we would be very slow. So what we would do is we would have them print dye sub images that I just collected offline of free images, and then we would make backpacks and messenger bags and donate them to basically houses with children that had run away from home or were homeless, and we're trying to get their lives back together. Because what we learned through talking to these places, or what I learned, was that one of the biggest deficits they have is bags for the stuff that they have, and a lot of these kids are leaving these places to their foster homes or their new places with trash bags. And I'm like, well, that's silly. I have 30 sewers sitting here doing nothing. Let's make some cool backpacks and messenger bags. So we made, boy-oriented ones with dinosaurs and fire and motorcycles and prints of all custom design. Then we did like kitty cats and dogs and princesses, and we just made all different variations that I could push the company to print as much as possible, and we made a bunch of messenger bags.
Can you compare that to your board experience? How do you like being on a board compared to doing like real practical things?
I would say being on a board is more organizational. It's more like I'm involved with knowing about the finances and what their long-term goals are, but I'm less hands-on. So I actually find doing the hands-on stuff a lot more rewarding. I love being a part of the board because I get to feel involved with something big. But when I have the opportunity to just volunteer and be there, it's much more rewarding. So I highly recommend volunteering. Whether you're with the Humane Society and you're just at an adoption event walking the dogs, or whether you're at a food bank and you're just helping them organize food. It feels less impactful, but it's actually way more impactful than I vote yes on this thing that everybody else is voting yes to.
Okay, so just following on the pricing conversations that people have had, and so when they hire, when they're doing this work, the exhibit halls, is it the company that's picking the vendor that's messing up, or is it the exhibit company picking the vendor that's messing up?
It's the exhibit company that's picking the vendor.
Okay, so they've already, chances are they're not going back and surcharging the customer that, hey, we picked a vendor that screwed up. They're trying to do their profit. So I think you have a good position to charge what you're worth, not try to go underneath this number, right? And then present to them, these companies that you work with regularly, that your prices are going up 10%, let's say in the first of the year, unless they want to put you on retainer to be available, every month for these events, or pre-purchase from you, and you'll give them a 10%, like you're going to go up 25%, but if they pre-purchase at the beginning, you'll do a 10% off your normal price.
It is actually a fairly common structure for a vendor to have you agree to spend this much with me this year, which would be a minimum of this much square feet, and then that locks them into a certain price, but you're also guaranteed to get this much work from that client that year, which is what I'm working towards.
And then when you're there, like you were there for multiple days for CES or something like that.
Yeah, that actually that's money.
Yeah, so
I make well, I don't want to get into numbers, but I make a lot of money just being available to them. So that I'm not concerned about the rate that I make there. I'm more concerned about obscurity and having more clients. So right now, and this is just me being absolutely transparent, I do 1 to 2 trade show jobs a month. And they usually take me 3-4 days. And I am able to do them with me as staff of 1 usually. Sometimes I'll bring in a part-time employee to help me. But that is not nearly tapping my capacity. I need more clients so that I can have more revenue and hire and then increase my capacity. Yes?
Have you thought of sports events? Thinking about the World Cup coming, and I know FIFA, they're going to have a big event festival.
She just did. Yeah, I did 2 bills for the All-Star game. But again, my client isn't the All-Star Game, my client isn't MLB, my client is the company that was hired by them to do a presentation, and that sporting events actually usually have multiple, in regular Salesforce is its own beast, but like New York Auto Show, there are probably 20 different exhibit houses producing builds for 40 to 50 different presenters at that show. And so I could work for all of them. That would be great.
To piggyback on what she said, that one company that you said that comes to you after they mess it up, if you were them, wouldn't you get the exposure you're looking for?
Well, that's funny that you said, because like I have, like the company that I'm talking about is Exhibitus. So Exhibitus goes to DD2. They call me. Exhibitus gets the rectangles right most of the time, but then a lot of the time the door cutout isn't right on that 2-inch strip side, or on above the door, the cutout's a little wonky and I need to come in and edit it, or the door doesn't match, so I'm dropping out the bead on one side and lifting it to the other side, or there's an angle in it and they forgot to cut the angle in it, those kind of things. So I come in and I charge an hourly rate, a high hourly rate to fix it, just because it's convenient for them because I'm local, then asking them to try again and it'd be wrong again in the short timeline that they have.
Well,
but then the next time, they still call 82 and I've asked them, like, why, and it's, their limitation is literally because I don't print myself. They don't like my printing source. That's not that the print quality, it's that my printing source is their competition. So there's, the goal to get to printing on my own would open up a lot of doors.
Because I would just recommend jacking up the price until it is uncomfortable.
Right.
This is my price.
Yeah.
But if you had me instead of
like they literally called me yesterday and were like, can you clean these graphics? And I was like, well, you can send them to a cleaners. And they're like, well, where do we send them? I was like, a cleaners. Like a laundromat that's willing to clean them. Just tell them not to heat dry. So I ended up hand cleaning them for them at an hourly rate. And I'm like, okay, if you want to spend $700 on cleaning.
Would your printing source allow you to let them use their own printing source when you're working with them?
Well, they are the printing source. Well, oh, wait. I don't know.
You're saying you have a printing source that's a rival to this other company.
Yes.
And this other company has the ability to hire you to do things.
They both actually can hire me. They're both exhibit houses.
So do you have an exclusive with your printing source that doesn't allow you to work with other printing sources?
No.
Then I would just say eliminate that barrier. Just when you go into there, say, I'm happy to work with you. I know this printing source that I work with is a competitor, but I'm happy to work with your chosen printing source when you're ready to work with me.
Yeah, and that's where we're getting to with, I'm like, well, if you want to get it printed at 82 and then have me finish it so you know it'll be right, I'm happy to do a price at that rate. But again, getting people to switch habits is the hardest part.
I just encourage you real quick. I don't miss too many of these Wednesdays. And this room was packed, and right now, I can't remember too many Wednesdays that have gone over kind of this long.
Yeah.
And this room is still full of people.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's because of you. And so, I feel like you should kind of walk in that power as even when you're not here, just, you have the ability to demand and command the room. And I think that will go very far as you grow your business.
Thank you so much. It's really great to hear because I thank Aaron a little bit, a lot of it actually, because he called me and gave me a little coaching session yesterday and just recommended that I be myself because I was going to try real hard to come up here and have cue cards and be very scripted and I threw that out the window as soon as I talked to him.
Everyone in here has something to do when they're sticking around for you, so I would just walk in that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Well, I don't want to go too much over.
I feel like that's the perfect time for me to end it.
Yeah.
But we do have somebody who's new in the room, and I want to hear new voices too. So please.
So have you ever thought about like Shark Tank or and like seeking investors? I know you're saying.
I have thought about seeking investors. I actually thought about asking my dad, but that's a horrible idea. It's a horrible idea. But I
already changed your name.
Okay, really short story. My dad is not a bad person. But he's not good for me. Anecdotal story. He just built one of the largest houses in Michigan. It's 30,000 square feet. Yet his daughter still has $200,000 in school debt. He ain't good for me.
Do you have a business coach? Is Aaron your business coach?
I had Aaron as a business coach. I was broke, so I paused. And but I'm not broke anymore.
Highly recommend you need a business coach.
Yeah, no, I know I need one. I know I need one.
Everything I've heard today is easily fixed.
We're
The plan.
Yeah, we're gonna fix that.
Yeah, because I think you're amazing, and I think you've got a great business here, and it's an amazing business, and there's easy things you can tweak that will make you extremely successful. Your issue is market share, not necessarily anything else. It could be pricing. I don't know enough about the business, but you need to be pricing like a Lamborghini, right? You're the Lamborghini. People hire you because you're the best, right? And they're hiring these other houses because they're just pumping it out, right? You need to create hundreds of things for a show like CES. It just needs to be done, right? And so you're coming in to fix it because these sewing houses they're just doing a half-ass job, but they're doing volume. So they're volume, right? You can't handle that volume.
Well, I can.
So, but that's the thing. You have to be able to present yourself like you can handle that volume. And once you get to that place where you can come into a room and say, I don't want one frame, I want them all.
Yeah.
Right? That's where you need to get to. I think the sky's the limit.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
But call him today.
Yeah.
Sign him back up.
Thank you guys all for your feedback. It has been super valuable.
Yes,
I really
it's really
appreciate
great.
it.
Or you coming and being willing to be vulnerable. Margaret?
Can I just put a plug in for mentors?
Yeah, sure. Full room. Take advantage.
Thank you. So my name's Margaret Coleman, and I am a part-time employee with the Fayette County Public Schools as a mentor program specialist. A lot of you have heard this pitch before, but I'm always looking for mentors. I know sometimes you can hear it 3, 8, 11 times before you buy in, but I'm looking for mentors to come into the schools, individually work with students one-on-one during the school day at the school. And if that's not something that you can do, we have other programs that do different things. I'm also looking to go and speak to other organizations. So if you are a part of PowerCore or BNI, or you're on a board or something where I can talk to other people about mentoring our students, then I would love to do that. I have business cards. I have to go, so I'm gonna give them to somebody else to hand them out if you're interested. But definitely think about it. If not you, maybe someone else, right? And if you can think of someone else, you can just put them into contact with me. On the back of this is a QR code. If they're interested, you can just go to the QR code and put that information in, and then I'll contact you. All right, thank you very much. And we have some mentors in the room right now, Josh. Woo! Jason was one, Letitia, like a bunch of people. So thank you for being mentors, and thank you for spreading the word for me.
Thanks, everybody.